What is up, you guys? I am here today to finally tell you about my MTV Fears experience. About my. I am here today to finally tell you about my MTV Fear experience. MTV Fear is a show that was back. Like, I don't even know how to do this, y'all. Okay. First and foremost, let me say that I recorded this video. Oh, like 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, I recorded part of this video of me watching the show at the same time and reacting to it and talking to you all. But a whole bunch of stuff messed up. That was my fault because I was trying to shoot two things in one night after work, and it totally did not work out. So I scrapped that and just went with the other video, which I can't even remember what it was. It was one of those cooking videos. Probably the tuna video. But, wow. I don't know if you heard my stomach growling or not. But, right now, I am totally shooting a whole new video. There will be no reaction clips unless I'm able to edit them in. I doubt that I will. So, I mean, if you haven't seen the video already, if you haven't seen the show, I will definitely leave a link in the description and you can check it out before you continue to watch the rest of this, or you can check it out afterwards. So I was on MTV's Fear, The Laguerre Plantation, and it was the last episode for season 1. I can't remember if it's episode 9 or 10. I think it's episode 10, but it could be 9. But it's the Laguerre Plantation episode. But I did that, and I'm going to walk you through the entire process from casting to, receiving my money. Okay. I'm gonna try to be quick with this because it's an old show, and I realized processing these long videos takes a couple hours dealing with the Wi-Fi that I have. So I'm gonna try to make this quick and snappy and entertaining. So casting, it was probably it was 1999. I was packing up to move back home to my mother's house. It might have been 2000. We're going to say it's 99. And I was packing up. As I was packing up, well, I wasn't packing up yet. I was in the process of packing up. You all have to forgive the quality of this video as well, because I'm shooting it not through my regular phone's camera, but through a third-party app, because I have this green screen effect going on, which hope you like, but it may come out a little less crisp than my other videos. I'm not sure yet. I did a test and it didn't look as crisp as after I loaded it up to YouTube. So maybe I should have recorded it in 4K and uploaded it to 1080 HD. I don't know, but I know one thing. I'm getting blind by all these fucking lights in my damn eyes. Boom, boom, boom. Thank God this light isn't on. But alright, back to the story. So I was in the midst of packing up my apartment to move back home, and I saw a casting call for MTV's Fear. I actually saw it on the website, MTV's casting call website. I used to check that all the time because I was really trying to get on The Real World or Road Rules. I was really trying to get on The Real World or Road Rules. My stomach is growling like crazy, but that never happened. I mean, I went to a couple auditions, but it never panned through. So I saw the casting call. I made a tape and sent it in. And my tape, I grabbed my camcorder, threw it up in the kitchen, talked to them for like 5 to 10 minutes about how I was into scary stuff, how I'm always trying to scare people, how my mother and family actually scared me one time when we went camping. They had, let me tell you about this. They had these guys that were already at the camping resort play a trick on me and acted like basically they were going to kill me. They were kidnapping me and kill. They were going to kidnap me and kill me. I know, my mother. Yeah, we have a pretty entertaining, amusing dynamic. But that's us. That's the Mayberries. That's what we do. So basically, I asked all the older folks if we could play a trick on the younger kids, right? They were looking at me like, why would you want to do that? That's crazy. So I went off, said, forget it, man, whatever. Came back went off with the kids, came back with the kids came back, and my mother asked me if I can get some toothpaste out of the trailer that we were staying in. That was a little up the hill. So a little ways up the hill. So I went and I'm like, toothpaste. So I'm walking up there like, whatever. As I get to the door of the camper, I hear footsteps on top of the camper. And I step back and I look up. And boom, somebody jumps on me. I'm like, I'm in shock at this point. I'm like, what the covering my eyes, covering my mouth. I couldn't scream to save my life. Let me tell you that. I could not scream. It was like everything inside of me just left. All the vocal cords, the adrenaline, like I just was scared out of my goddamn mind. So I'm hearing, shut up, get them over here, because I can still hear my family partying and the music a couple trailers down. As they're dragging me, not dragging me, but carrying me over to, somebody's on my feet, somebody's got my arms, but somebody's covering me at the same time. I'm not thinking about this at like, okay, because I'm panicking. They removed my, somebody like, I could kind of see through the eye a little bit, and I could see my family down there dancing and partying, and I'm trying to scream bloody murder, but cannot get a vocal cord out of me. I'm feeling something up against my neck. They take me to this edge of this cliff. I'm like, oh my gosh. Next thing you know, they removed the hand, and it's my mother with the butter knife up to my neck. So, with the opposite side though, not the cutting side, the opposite side. So, I told them that story. I guess that kind of piqued their interest, and they called me for to come in for an interview at the Hard Rock Cafe. I'm sure I had a phone interview, but that probably came and went. But I got a call for a final interview, and it was at the Hard Rock Cafe. I was already living back at home in Greenbelt, Maryland with my family, and got called for the Hard Rock Cafe final interview. So I went to that with, I think, my best friend at the time, Juan. I went to that and basically sat in a chair like this. Had the director or casting person on the opposite side of the camera, had a camera on me, lights. They were asking me a bunch of questions. Basically, they was re-asking me everything I filled out in my application and the stuff they asked me over the phone. So I just told them that, and it wasn't like it was boring to keep retelling. It just, I don't know, as I was progressing in the interviewing process, I felt like, ooh, okay. I just got a little more excited telling the story. So past that with Flying Stars, so I thought, and Flying Colors, Flying Stars, whatever. So I leave and I don't hear anything for maybe a month and a half. I'm not sure. I didn't write all this down. I thought I had diaried this in my journal at the time, but I did not. So I'm in my mother's kitchen, probably 2 months later, making sparkling jello for the first time in my life. And I get a phone call, and it was basically the production company letting me know that I had got picked for a season. Well, not a season, but an episode of MTV Sphere. So, of course, I'm jumping up and down. I'm excited. I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah. Boom. So now I got a couple days before I catch a plane to go to Louisiana. And as I'm thinking about the location, like the state I'm going to, it's not hitting me to think about voodoo and stuff. I wasn't even into like all that voodoo and stuff. All I kept thinking about was a graveyard, some type of cemetery. Like I feel like I'm gonna be in a cemetery. And I think I had a dream, like a little bit of like an intuition that something is going to happen in the cemetery. So it's time to go. My grandfather, rest his soul, God rest his soul. He drives me to the airport, which is bumper to bumper traffic on 395. I was freaking out like I was going to miss my plane. I've never missed a plane before in my life, but we didn't miss it. We made it. Got on the plane, went to Baton Rouge. Got picked up by somebody that worked for the production company. They couldn't really talk to me. They just drove me to the Best Western Motel. That's where they had us sequestered until the day of shooting. So they drop us off. They drop me off at the Best Western. I get in my room. I meet the director, and he's going through my clothes to make sure I didn't sneak anything in, like drugs, cameras, stuff that we weren't supposed to have. Then they, say, okay, just sitting here for a while and we'll be back with you or whatever. Basically, I was in a room by myself for damn near 24 hours with no TV and just a book. Maybe 2 books. I think the Bible was in there and a book called Wild Dogs, which I'll get into later. So that was it. I had to basically entertain myself for damn near close to 24 hours. And I'm a TV guy. I live for TV, so I did not know how this was going to work. I said, I guess I could read. So I started reading a little bit of the Wild Dogs book. No, I think I started reading the Bible first. In that I wasn't interested, but I wasn't, not at that time. So I put that down and start reading Wild Dogs. And just there's something about spirits and dogs coming back. I don't know. I put that down too. So I just started, I don't know. First I started looking around the room for hidden cameras, just in case they wanted to show how it was with us in there. But no hidden cameras. So I just started, I don't know, acting out stuff, just trying to keep my mind active. So I go to sleep, and while I was sleeping, something else happened, but that's a whole nother story about sleep paralysis. We'll talk about that another day. But I wake up, and this is the day. I leave that night to start shooting. So I'm still waiting around. They bring me, I keep saying us, it's only me in the room. They bring me some breakfast. Then I have to meet the director to sit down and talk. I have to meet the equipment man to show me how to work the cameras and everything. And I had to meet a psychic. No. I didn't meet the director. I met a doctor who had to check us out. I met a doctor who had to check our mental state out, our physical state out. I met a equipment man who showed us how to work the cameras and the vests and everything. And I met the psychic who would kind of read me my fortune. So after all that, they leave me with a camera, and they told me to talk to the camera, introduce myself, where I'm from, what I do. I think I had a list of questions to answer. So that's what you see in the opening footage, where I'm sitting on my motel room floor talking about, I'm getting excited because it's like it's about to happen. So all right, answer the questions, boom. All right, it's time to go. It's time to go. So they bag up my head with one of those bags, and I get in some type of car. I can't see anything, so I know I'm in a car though, and we're riding. Then they stop, take us out of the car, and have us line up in a line at this abandoned church that was like off the side of the road somewhere. So Once we were all lined up, they said we could remove our bags. And boom, I see everybody for the first time. And I'm like nervous. I'm like, oh shit, this is going down right now. Okay. So I started introducing myself, and that's when you can hear me repeat my name over and over and over because I'm nervous as fuck. So next thing you know, the voodoo priestess lady comes in and tries to tell us about what we're about to experience and go through that night. So after that, they rebag our heads, put us back in the car, and then take us to the safe house, which was this little trailer, but they camouflaged it like some old abandoned building. It was a little trailer that was on the site of the hauntings or the place we were investigating, but it was a little bit of ways. Like we had to walk from there to the house or to the lake or to the slave cabins or to the cemetery, and then go back there. But in the safe house, there were lights, there were snacks. Well, no, there weren't any snacks, but one of the girls had a bag of candy, so I consider that snacks. But the computer to tell us what to do and everything. So basically, you'll see all that in the actual episode, how everything looks and whatever. All right, so first day of the night, I'm green. I have to read from the computer screen to Sunshine. I think she was yellow, and she had the first day of the night. So, oh, excuse me. So, I'm reading. Listen here, I'm still nervous. I'm reading, and she has to go into this slave cabin, and she had to go into the slave cabin and perform some type of ritual, I believe. She had to cut off her hair and do something. You have to watch the episode, but I know I had to read to her the instructions of what to do, and I know I kind of stumbled across a couple words, especially susceptible, which was a word that I've never used in my life up until that show, God honest, and I've never seen it on paper. And if I had seen it on paper or on an actual computer screen, I just went right by it. Like I didn't know what it mean, nothing. It didn't mean anything to me. So, but I got stumped on that word. She yells it out before I could finish it, and I'm like, oh my God, this girl's about to get on my nerves or drive me crazy or something like that. I just was embarrassed for myself, but that's neither here nor there. So she has to sit in radio silence after she recites her three greatest fears. She has to sit in radio silence. Let me tell you the thing about Sunshine. Let me tell you the thing about our episode. There were 3 girls and 2 guys. I heard there was another guy, but I heard that he couldn't handle the 24-hour sequester, and he decided to go back home. That's just a rumor. That's a rumor. That's what I heard. I don't know if it's true or not. So, 2 guys, 3 girls. From the episode, when it aired, it looked like all the girls had all the dares. It looked like me and Jeremy had 1 dare on the final night. Editing is a mother. Okay, let me tell you that much right now. I had a dare the first night, but they didn't show it because I didn't freak out enough. But I'll get into that later in a second. But the second night, of course, I freaked out because barely any sleep, and just the way that production came in that morning and talked to us about how we were doing, holding the cameras, and how we're communicating with each other through the walkie-talkies. We had to, basically, they were like telling us we were doing a bad job and we needed to improve. So I had that on my mind too. I'm like, man, I just want to go home now. It's second day. I got no sleep. It's hardly no good food. Like, we didn't have any food. We ain't had no food. I had snacks and maybe some water and some chips, but there was nothing that could stick to the bones. You know what I mean? So anyway, after I tell her she has to sit in radio silence, Sunshine, couple other dares happen. You'll see them. Just watch the episode. I'm not going to get into all the other people's dares, but I'm going to get to the final, like the last dare of the night 1, which should have been mine because I had the final dare for night 1, which was to take some little satchel to this lake that was over there, that was on the property, and I had to go into the lake, draw a cross across my forehead with the pig's blood or the goat's blood. I think it was goat's blood that was in the bag, the satchel, and I had to stay in radio silence for a while. But I did all of that, right? I got to the thing. I got to the edge of the lake. I went out there like a beast. I was quiet. I was just attentive of what was around me. I'm like, this is MTV. They are not gonna let nothing happen to me. It's a show. I'm at the lake, right? I got my fresh butters on. You can see, if anybody don't know what butters are, they Timberlands. You can see those in my opening video on the show. They're sitting on the bed because they're fresh, they're brand new. So I got my fresh butters on, and they telling me that I need to go into this lake. Now I'm thinking I could take these off. It's like 5 o'clock in the morning, pitch dark, and walk into this lake, not knowing what the fuck is out here. We're in Louisiana. All I'm thinking about is crocodiles. Fuck a spirit. Crocodiles and alligators is what I'm worried about. So I said, fuck it, I'm leaving my shoes on. I'll get another pair. I'll get another pair of boots when I win the money. So I just walk in with the boots on. I put the goat's blood on, and I'm standing there. They say, okay, Darren, you have to stay in radio silence. Boom. It's quiet. Next thing you know, I hear something dip into the water. I said, okay. This is all, I'm saying all this in my head. I'm like, okay. Just listening. Don't move too much, because if you don't move too much, nothing can sneak up on you. They won't really know where you are. Next thing you know, I hear somebody cough, like across the pond. I hear somebody cough. And I'm like, I'm not thinking, oh, what if it's a psychopathic killer? What if it's just some pervert watching you? I'm thinking, oh, it's production. They were out here looking out after me just in case something happened. So at that point, I was chill. I was like, all right. And I guess that didn't warrant, I wasn't freaking out enough for them. So within 3 to 5 minutes after they told me to go on radio silence, they called me back in. Boom. In the night one. Second day, me and Sunshine hardly slept. We sat up all night talking, eating her candy. Second day, the director and production comes in, and they give us, I think, 3 movies to watch before the night starts. I know one of them was that Lisa Bonet movie where she had to perform that ritual with that snake, and she had, I think, blood on her, and her breasts were exposed and stuff. That's what I recall from it. That's because I've never seen Denise Huxtable like that before, but it was a very interesting movie, and I heard she got a lot of flack for it. But before they gave us those movies, they were telling us about how bad we were doing, basically, to sum it all up. How bad we were doing with communicating with each other, and the video, how we were recording. So boom, they leave. It's time to start night 2. At this point, if you see me in the video, you can see that I'm kind of drained. I'm not talking as much. I'm not trying to piss production off. I just wanted to get this over with. Let's do what we need to do and be done. So, of course, this is the night where the door slams on Jen in the house. I never got to go in the house. I will admit that. I never got to go in the house. Never got to go in any cabins. I probably would have freaked out more if I had to go into an enclosed place as opposed to being out in the open. When I'm out in the open, I feel like, okay, it's more escape room. I can do more. That's probably why I was cool with being out in the lake and the cemetery. I didn't have any problems going into the cemetery up until you'll find out in a second. So that whole door closing incident, she was in the bed and she had to recite something with the covers over her, and the door slams, boom, and then she's screaming, freaking out. I don't know if something electrical or magnetic was on that door to slam it. I don't know. She said she didn't hear anybody in there. It just slammed shut. So boom, I was like, oh God, okay, wow. Rachel had to do a couple dares, but I think they only showed one of her dares, maybe 2, but her dares weren't that scary. They weren't. Jeremy had to, his only dare the whole entire time was the second night, and he had to drink something that was supposed to resemble some type of blood, I believe, zombie blood or some voodoo potion or something. And I think he had to sit out in the cemetery for a little bit. And then, at this point, the second night, Sunshine ends up leaving because she was done. She was done with having to keep going back out. I don't know if production was annoyed with her or if she was annoying production or they just didn't like her, but they kept sending her out on dares after dare after dare. They kept putting her in radio silence. It was like she wasn't part of the team. It was us four and then her. She was done. At one point, she couldn't get past the barrels of hay. Her camera light kept going out. She said she quit. She was done. So she left. So skipping up until 5 o'clock again, night 2 is green. Time to go out. I'm like, oh fuck, why do I have the last shits of the night? This is all what I'm thinking in my head, but I'm like, you did it the first night. Let's go. Let's do this again. I'm thinking I'm about to go into a slave cabin or go into the house. So I'm kind of like, but boom. After I put on my coat and stuff, I go next door to the productions trailer, and they put the camera on me, and they hand me some bag, and they say, just carry this bag until you get to your destination. I got this bag on me. Walking, this thing is hitting me on my hip. I'm looking out for the little reflectors on the trees. They guiding me through. I'm looking out for the reflectors. I'm looking. I finally get to a graveyard. What did I say? A graveyard, or from early in the video. I had a feeling I was going to be in a graveyard, a cemetery, but it was kind of like old and abandoned. So I get to this graveyard, and I had to find one of the old slaves' tombstones. So I'm looking around. My camera light is dying on my face. If you can tell, because you can hardly see me. You see me through the infrared night vision cameras that are posted up in the trees. I found her tombstone, and they tell me to kneel down, and I'm supposed to perform some voodoo ritual, right? But then he tells me I have to go in the back. See, the way they edited my scene was completely back and forth. It was just crazy. I wasn't supposed to go in that bag when I did. I was just freaked out because I kept hearing dogs around me from reading that damn book. So now I know that your mind plays tricks on you. I'm freaking out because at this point I'm not really good with dogs like I am now. But I damn sure don't want to see no random dog in the middle of the night at a cemetery when I'm freaking the fuck out like this. So, but the dog's barks were way in the distance. So I said, okay. I go in this bag, and I'm about to stick my hand in there without even looking. Then some say, grab your camera, flash that light down there, right? So I open up the bag. I flash the light down, open up the bag, and all I see was snake skin. You know, with snake skin, like the print and the scales and I'm getting goosebumps. So I see that shit, and I'm startled. I jump the fuck back. I'm like, wait a minute. They said I was supposed to grab. It was something else, a thing of vinegar. I believe I was supposed to grab out of this bag, but I went into the wrong bag. I think I had 2 bags. I can't remember, but I went into the wrong bag first and saw that snake, and I was done. I was done with the $5,000. I was done with MTV. I was done with everything. I just wanted to go home. I didn't care anymore. I just wanted to go home because deep down inside, I knew I had to pick that snake up. It wasn't you just bring it there, and after you dump the vinegar on the grave, you just have a snake in your bag, or you let it out. You're gonna have to touch this snake, do something there. So I'm like, I'm freaking out. I'm talking to myself, this is so stupid. I should have never signed up or done this. The whole time, in that part, they had me screaming, Nana, 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 right? That's my grandmother, Nana. I didn't scream Nana at that part. at that point, I'm screaming, somebody needs to come get me because I'm done. I don't give a fuck about $5,000. That's when Rachel was in the background, they kept going back and forth through scenes, and they'd say, tell him it's worth $5,000. I say, fuck $5,000. I don't give a fuck. Somebody needs to come get me right now. I'm done. They didn't show all of that. They showed me conforming, going, okay. The way they edit stuff is crazy. But the only reason why I continued to go on with it was because they sent Jeremy out there to like kind of stand in the distance. If somebody was out there with me, because in the past episodes or in other shows, they have sent 2 to 3 people out together at one time. Granted, it's been scarier locations, but I don't know. Maybe they saw maybe it was the last dare of the night, and they was just like, let's send them somebody out there. Just let's get this over with. Boom. They send Jeremy out there. Now I feel comfortable. I feel like I can do this now. But he's not. He's off camera. Like you can't see him in the shot. But you still hear him on the radio. That's because he has a walkie-talkie with him, and to make it look like he's still in the safe house. Notice they never show him again in that safe house while I'm out there. Next time they show him in the safe house, he's in there taking off his coat, and I'm about to walk in the door. He's behind. He's like back there guiding me through, talking about, you can do this, you can do this. I'm not touching this snake for nothing. I take the hat off that Nike provided us, and I take the bag the snake came in, and I pick the bitch up. And I'm supposed to, they say, hey, hold it in front of you. I'm thinking I was supposed to hold it up like this, but no, I just did it in front of me. But for years, I kept thinking, I fucked up that ritual. Wow. Siri just, wow. I did it how I was supposed to do, just hold the snake up in front. And it looked like I was about to drop it like it was heavy. No, I just didn't want that bitch near me. I didn't want it, So I did it. I ran it around in a circle. I was performing some voodoo ritual. Ran around in a circle for 10 minutes over the grave after I poured the vinegar on the grave. And I had to put the snake back in the bag. That's when I was calling for Nana. When I was putting that snake back in the bag, because now I'm like, the snake is probably agitated from being tossed around, being banged on, walking up to the cemetery. All I'm thinking of is grabbing it at the head, squeezing that head, and kind of shoving it in the bag. But, you know, I couldn't do that. Animal cruelty or whatever. But I grabbed the snake eventually. And I don't know why I was calling my grandmother, because she is terrified of snakes. Terrified. But I got it back in the bag. That was it. Got back to the safe house, described what happened, and that was the last day of the night. So after that, next time we go out, they're leading us to we're following directions to the prize money, which was a stunt. Like, it was just there for show. We didn't get the money until weeks or months later. I actually didn't get my money until months later because of a online interview I did that was not even big, but they found out about it. I didn't really expose anything in the interview, but they kind of held my money and they had to talk to people about releasing it. So about 3 months afterwards, I still didn't have any money, and I hit them up, and I think they forgot about me. I hit them up, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we'll talk to somebody." I got a response that same day, and they said I was going to get my money. Then it eventually came in the mail within a week or so. It was a check, so tax-free too, and that was a mistake because I owed the IRS because I didn't know anything about taxes or whatever at that time. But I paid that off. That's all good. It was only $700 and something. But that was pretty much it. After filming stopped, they took us out to breakfast. And Sunshine, she was still there. Even though she wasn't filming anymore, I guess she stayed back at the Best Western that they had us in the beginning. And she came to breakfast with us. And there's actually a picture. Maybe I can insert it in here now, but hopefully I can. Here's a picture of us. And that was at the restaurant. I think it was called Cotton's. We ate there for breakfast, and then we went our separate ways. That was it. That was my MTV Sphere reality experience. Would I do it again? It's hard to say now. Probably a few years back, like maybe 5 years ago, I would have said yeah. But nowadays, I listen to a lot of horror stories on YouTube, and it's a lot of real life horror stories for stupid, crazy stuff. So I'm not too sure I would do that again. I mean, no. Back in my late teens, early 20s, I would have did anything. But I'm about to be 40. I get scared too easily now. But I like that fear. I like that feeling of the fear that you get, the kind of sort of little bit of adrenaline that you get. Like, what would you do? What are you going to do? How are you going to escape this? But that's just my crazy ass. So, all right, guys, that was it. Look, I had little bullet points. I had these checked off because this is everything I talked about in my last video before it got all messed up. So, yeah. Would I do a reality show besides Fear? Would I do another reality show that just wasn't about investigating stuff? I would do another reality show, but more for like a game type of reality show, like Fear. Fear was a game, but it was more like investigating stuff, but you had to stay and compete for that. You had to stay to get that $5,000. Shows like The Real World and just shows that film you in your life and how you go about your life, I don't know about, because I don't think I'm that interested to have a camera on me for 12 hours at a time. But something like Big Brother, I definitely would do Big Brother. That's my show right there, because Big Brother reminds me of The Real World. How people will smile in your face but stab you right as soon as you turn around in your back. And that's the real world for you. Like, everybody doesn't walk around like a fucking fairy tale. Everything is not hunky-dory. Everybody is not jolly and whatever. Life is a game as well, and it's all about navigating through it and coming out on top. So that's what I'm basically doing, is trying to find my little niche, just trying to find my little space in life where I can enjoy it and be good with it. So, but definitely I would do something like a Big Brother, where there's competitions and strategy needed in order to survive. All right. So I hope this was is this still recording? It's still recording. Surprise, surprise. All right, guys, I hope you liked this video. Thank you for watching. Thank you to all the people that have subscribed to my channel and liked videos thus far. And if you have not, go ahead, give it a try. Like the video, hit the subscribe button, and just wait and see what I got coming, because I plan on doing some more stuff, more videos. Basically, that's it. Hope you liked it. Hope you will subscribe if you haven't. If not, just wait around. I'll show you something where you will want to subscribe to or for. So, all right, guys, until next time. Oh, hopefully the sound is not all crazy, because I got these mics working and they sound a little bit better because I kind of talk low. So, all right, guys. Peace. Wait a minute, let me do that again. Alright, guys. Alrighty, guys. Alright, guys, that's it. Peace.